Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
Cliff Jumper, commence countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now, ToyCast with your hosts, TFG1Mike and Optibotimus.
Do you know what this means? It means that this damn thing doesn't work at all.
This is ToyCast. I am your host, TFG1Mike, and it is finally time that I jump into the Delorean with my good buddy Optibotimus, and we hit 88 miles per hour to go back in time to see if there were any Back to the Future toys when the films were being made. And what we found out was no.
This was a quick episode. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus.
Fuck you. So, Paul and I have been talking over the last couple of days because, as everyone knows, I have a weird thing of connecting numbers with certain years and certain franchises and stuff like that. And obviously, last episode 87, was the Turtles, even though I know the toys didn't come out till 88. That was the year that the...
I honestly don't know why you didn't include me in that when I am an aficionado in turtle toys, but go ahead.
Well, number one, because it's like, I have to pretty much, strangle you to get you to do fucking podcast. You hate podcasts. You refuse to listen to podcasts. So, it's like, I just don't want to ask him.
I'm sorry.
It's your own damn fault.
People should leave feedback on this and let the people here at what is this? Geekcast? Is this
Geekcast Radio Network?
People should leave feedback here at the Geekcast Radio Network and let TFG1Mike and the others know whether or not you guys like listening to me and if you would want me around more. If I feel wanted, I might do more.
Hey,
and not just wanted by
people
like Mike and
plenty of stuff, and then you complain when you have to actually do research. Anyways.
Well, research, see, that's the thing. Research, I'm bad at. I don't need to do research on Ninja Turtle stuff. I mean, there are certain things that I could just talk about. I know a lot about it. I mean, the last podcast you brought me in with, Silverhawks versus
Thundercats.
I mean, that required me to go back and watch. And it's funny. I finally picked up. I know this isn't on topic, but I'm imagining that you've already done something like this, but I found for $20 the first season of Batman the Animated Series, and I've been rewatching that and reliving it and I don't want to say
your enjoyment has returned of the series.
Yes. And I'm really loving it. And there's episodes that I remember watching as a kid. I'm like, I really like this. Like I just rewatched. There's a bat in my basement.
There's Batman in my basement.
There's a Batman in my basement. Yeah, thank you. That's like one of my all-time favorite episodes, and it's kind of like a filler episode, but it's hilarious. I loved it.
Well, since you're going back and watching this, and I tried just telling you this on Twitter, and you said no, I'm not doing it. You should go over to geekcastradio.com and look up Legends of the Dark Knight and listen to our BTAS review podcast. We have our first interview on over there with the voice of the original Dick Grayson Robin, Lauren Lester. So that was pretty cool that we talked to him. Anyways, Back to the future here. We've been talking, Paul and I have been talking over the last couple of days because I wanted to get this episode up and done and everything else. And it's not going to be that long of an episode because we found out that there has been a stunning lack of Back to the Future toys over the years.
Yeah, I mean, it's... but you and I had talked about this beforehand, and I think for the most part that, and I'm sure you can probably get this pulled up a whole lot faster than I could. But we talked about the fact that there came out a Back to the Future cartoon. Right. Now, when you think back to the movies really weren't directed towards kids. And I think to like Ghostbusters, that it was a movie that got toys, but a lot of the toys came later as adult collectors. Now, the toys that we did get for Ghostbusters came from the cartoons for Ghostbusters, like the real Ghostbusters and things of that nature. We never really got movie toys. I think the Matty Collector ones were the first time that we ever actually got movie toys for the original movies. So Back to the Future, in terms of the movie, not really directed towards kids. So I can imagine why they wouldn't make toys. But now, as adults, we're seeing a little bit more of a push towards, some things that adult collectors now would like to have. Now, did you find the cartoon date?
Oh,
See, I'm disappointed. I just dragged that out.
Hold
so
on,
that hopefully you would have it, and then you could just segue right into it. But then we're just gonna sit here and pull our thumb and push this button.
Well, we're both.
That's a perfect soundbite right there. I don't know if that showed up very well.
It probably did. TV series. Future was an animated series for television, 91 to 92.
Okay, so it lasted like one season, and it came 91. So the first Back to the Future movie came out, what year was it?
85.
85. And then the second one came out, what, 89 and then 90?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got the cartoon series in 91.
Yep.
So a year after the trilogy was done. So, and it only lasted one season. So, yeah, I can imagine why they probably didn't invest a lot into, Back to the Future toys or anything like that. But like I said, now, as adults, we're getting a little bit nicer of collectible sort of things that are borderlining prop replicas for the most part. And I know that one of the biggest things, I'm pretty sure that one of the biggest reasons why, I know you've had this planned for some time, but it just coincides with the pre-sale release of the MattyCollector.com prop replica for the Hoverboard.
Yeah.
In addition to that, not too terribly long ago, there was the limited edition Nike sneakers that came out with they didn't have the power laces, but they lit up, and I don't even remember what they were called, but that was only like a charity auction thing.
Yep.
Normal people like you and me will never be able to see those.
At $150 all the way up to $3,000, no. Really? I don't mind. I think the most I've ever spent on a pair of shoes was because I was a ward of the state. We had what they call clothing letters, and they would save it up for us throughout the year, and we would go shopping usually at Christmas time, and we would have a lot to spend on winter clothes and stuff like that. I think the most I ever paid for a pair of shoes was like a pair of Jordans for like $140. Usually my shoes are like anywhere from $50 to $90, and I make them last me at least 3.5 years.
You actually saw those sneakers going for $150 somewhere?
I might be off. It could have been something else.
If there was $150, if they were going for $150 anywhere, I guarantee you there'd be two people that would have got those: me and P.O. Not enough. He really likes Back to the Future too as well.
I think what it was when they were doing those auctions, I think I saw one that it was like it had like a day left, and it was just had like two bids, and it was like $150, and then like 2 days later the bid was like
now putting this all in context, these were charity auctions that were done for the Michael J. Fox Foundation, which all the money and all the proceeds went towards helping with Parkinson's research. So the money, it's not like people were just being stupid with these. It was going for good causes, and God bless them. I think it's wonderful. I wish they would make some, and I think that I remember having this discussion with other people before. I think if you made a couple 100,000 of these and sold them for $100 a pair or $150 a pair, you probably could make more money than making 100 sneakers, or I think they only made like 1,000 or something like that. But then they auctioned them off and whatever. But it was for a good cause. So let's not get too critical of them. But we're seeing a big surge nowadays because, like you and I talked about earlier on the phone, that the kids, when Back to the Future came out, they're now adults.
Yeah.
And they're directing these things now. I mean, Entertainment Earth really kind of started a lot of things off with the Back to the Future 2 DeLorean vehicle, which I don't even know what scale it is. Maybe it's like a 1/18th scale or something like that. It's of the DeLorean. It has lights and sounds, and I have the Back to the Future 2 version. It's
1/15 scale.
1/15 scale, okay. It has hover conversion, and you flip a little switch, and it actually the wheels flip down. There's a Back to the Future 1 version, which doesn't have that. The Back to the Future 2 version also has Mr. Fusion, which the Back to the Future 1 doesn't. And then there's actually 2 versions of the Back to the Future 3 DeLorean, which comes with railroad tracks, and that's the one that I have because that's the one that's a little bit more iconic for me. They also have another version that has the white wall tires, where when they rebuilt the DeLorean, when Doc Brown from 1955, and this is going to get confusing for anybody that doesn't know Back to the Future, but the Doc Brown from 1955 and the Marty from 1985 repair the DeLorean that was stored from the Doc Brown from 1855 or whatever the year was.
1885, yeah.
1885. It's been stored for 100 years or whatever, and those two, the 55 and 85 characters, repair it, but the tires are blown out. So they have to actually put modern tires, and it was the modern tires from 1955. So they're white walled tires. Now, they also made that version. I think JT Mitchell actually has that one, but I wanted the one with the rail tracks because that was more prevalent in the movie. I mean,
in the third movie, yes. I mean the repaired 1955 DeLorean was more so to get Marty back to 1885, and then they basically had to make it rail ready,
right?
Because there was no gas. The gas hadn't been invented yet.
Gas hadn't been invented. They didn't have the ability,
to pull it.
Because, you would need like 100 different horses in order to do it, because that's what horsepower, I don't know if people realize this, but that's where the term horsepower comes out. How many horses it would take to actually pull something, So if you had one horse, put it this way, a carriage back in the olden days, a carriage with 2 horses pulling or using whatever, blah, blah, blah. That basically is a 2 horsepower carriage. So that's how you look at it. They didn't have anything. They couldn't wait until wintertime where they would slide it down a slippery slope because Doc Brown was going to get shot in a couple days. They didn't have that long.
Yeah.
So Entertainment Earth started this whole thing. I believe it was Entertainment Earth that first offered the Back to the Future 2 car in 1/15th scale.
Yeah.
And they subsequently released the Back to the Future 1 version, and they released the Back to the Future 3 versions. And like I said, I have all 3 of them. I absolutely love them, but
you need to review them.
I should. I don't have the boxes or anything, so it would be just a regular review on the figures.
Well, even though these cars from Entertainment Earth were released in the last 3 or 4 years, you could do it as a retro review.
Oh, I know. I'm sure. Yeah, I definitely could. But the only thing that I'll say about these vehicles is these are. I'm trying to think if these are made by Art Asylum. I don't.
Diamond Select.
Diamond Select Art Asylum. I mean, yeah. Well, they're pretty much the same company. They're the ones.
Know what it says on Entertainment Earth.
I know. Well, Diamond Select was separate, and then Art Asylum was separate, and then they merged together. It's like Takara Tomy. Put it that way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but the Diamond Select figure or the things are what made a lot of the Starship Enterprises and all the starships from Star Trek and a lot of the Star Trek characters, which are very, very nicely detailed. The DeLoreans are kind of lame in terms of their detailing. They're very simplistic, and there's a lot of stuff that's really not going on. There's like empty spaces where like wires and things should be. I should review these, just to kind of give you a good look. But and they're not bad. They're not bad for what they are, and at least we have them. Now, there are better ones that are out there made by other companies, but they don't have the lights and sounds. So That's something that kind of sucks. But again, nowadays, a lot of these things that we're getting are prop replicas. And the other one that I have that I've had for a very long time is also made by Diamond Select, and that's the Back to the Future 2 Marty McFly hat. If you guys are familiar with Back to the Future 2, it's not a hologram, but it changes colors. I don't know what they call it ultra refractive fibers or fabrics. I don't know what you call that, but you look one way and it changes. You guys know, if you guys have seen Back to the Future 2, you know the hat that he wears in it. I mean, I got one of those. I absolutely love it. I think it's wonderful. I have seen other props for like the flux capacitor. I've seen those going on Big Bad Toy Store, but those are always really kind of expensive. But in terms of toys, we don't really have much. But except for now, recently, again, Diamond Select is making the Back to the Future mini mates, which they're okay. They're not really anything to write home to because they're mini mates. It's like Lego, but weird. I mean,
it's very strange.
I mean, if you get into that sort of thing, I guess you're gonna like it. But they're really kind of They really remind me of like play school toys. I mean, it's like if you were to take Transformers and make them play school. I mean, basically you get like rescue robots. That's that's what the mini mates is. It's the rescue robots version of Back to the Future. I mean, that's they're very cartoony looking and weird proportioned and strange. Now I know some people that like them. I know our good friend and fellow Team Botanist member Bob Gilmer has reviewed the Back to the Future mini mates, and they're cool looking, but I can't get into them. They're too derpy. And that sounds.
Here's the hooves when you really need it. Oh, bad joke. Here's the thing, though. Supposedly, Mattel has has a license for Back to the Future.
They do, yeah.
And we talked about this off air where they had to my knowledge, are the only one that has a Ghostbusters license to produce 6-inch figures.
Right.
And every time I see Toy Guru talking about, anytime I see someone ask him about Back to the Future, he's like, well, we would probably only make Marty and Doc because that's really what only a lot of people, like the mass majority of the public, really remembers as Marty and Doc. But, I mean, if you're going to do a fan line like that, you could have, I doubt that they would ever do this, but it is an adult collector. They could have where it is 1955 Doc with face peeling action, because remember he had the mask to make him look younger?
Right. There's actually an interesting story about that because there was a time difference between the first movie and the second movie, and Doc had aged. Christopher Lloyd had aged, and it was a noticeable thing. So what they did to kind of make up for that, because the movies were supposed to be, sequential. There wasn't supposed to be a gap or anything. I mean, it was to be continued. So it was supposed to be a continuation and immediate continuation of the story. So what they actually did was they made that joke about him, going to a rejuvenation clinic, and they changed how he looked a little bit, to kind of coincide with that. So I thought that was ingenious. Now, Back to the Future 2 and 3 were shot simultaneous. Well, not
simultaneously, back to back.
Back to back. Whereas there was a little bit of a difference between the first and the second. But I think, with Matty Collector, and I don't care what Scott and I like, what he says. You could make a 55 not Marty. You can make a 55 Marty. You can make a 55 Doc. You can make a 55. The mom and dad. Make a 55 Biff. You can do, a 2015 Biff. 2015 Marty McFly Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of characters, but now here's the problem. They have to have enough money. These things have to sell well enough to warrant the tooling for all new characters. Otherwise, it's going to be the exact same thing as Ghostbusters, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Say you get a Marty, a Doc, and let's say regular 1985 Biff.
Right.
Well, not 1985 Biff, 1955 Biff.
Sure.
You can use obviously the original three figures of Marty, Doc, and Biff would have to be wholly new tool figures.
Right.
But after that, you can just replicate Marty 55, 85, blah, 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 blah. Same thing with Doc. Same thing with Biff. You can make a repaint or a replica of Biff and have him as Griff from the future. You could, obviously old Biff would have to be, completely new tool. But, I mean, if there's enough fandom... And what... I really don't want to turn this into a Matty Collector debate thing, but what really, really surprises me about Mattel and Matty Collector and all that is like, oh, well, you guys are so vocal online, but yet in person you're so nice and blah, blah, blah. Well, of course we're vocal online. We're in our own basements hiding from you people, and, we have the anonymity of the internet. I have never said a really honestly bad thing about Mattel's production and Mattel's lines at all. There's some lines I don't care for, but...
It's not Mattel. It's not Mattel. It's Digital River.
Right, right. But what I'm saying is, I've never actively sat here and bashed Masters, Ghostbusters, Volt. I've never bashed that. It's the business side of it. It's as you said, the Digital River side of it. But I think you might have to wait for an anniversary year to maybe do these things. But a 6-inch line for Back to the Future would be kind of cool to have.
I agree. But, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
That's the unfortunate aspect of things. I mean, it's just, same reason why we're getting the shaft kind of on...
Ghostbusters. On
the Ghostbusters things, because now if they made a movie, they'd be all over making new toys for it.
Yep.
And they've already, and they've said that. They've said that.
Yeah.
So,
Back to the Future, I'm not sure. I tried to look up and see, and I'm going to have to look it up again. I was trying to look up on Wikipedia if they had, like, a Monopoly version. Monopoly has all those,
I would imagine they do.
Transformers versions and G.I. Joe versions and all this and all that. I was trying to see if they had that for Back to the Future, but what I found was that they had like, to this day, they've had 27 different video games, both some for PC and some for consoles, which that's kind of cool. But it's sad that it's severely lacking when it comes to toys for the Back to the Future franchise.
Yeah, it's a letdown, but
I mean, as you said to me on the phone earlier, that it's one of those things where at this point we're all adult collectors. I mean, we're all grown up. It's not just just for kids anymore.
Yeah. Amen.
Do you have anything else? I'm actually trying, as I'm going through this diatribe, I'm trying to see if there's a Monopoly version of it. That would be kind of cool if there was.
I'm surprised that they wouldn't have it, but I mean, I honestly, I'd be surprised if they didn't have it, but realistically, I wouldn't be too terribly surprised if they didn't have it. But that's it. Oh well.
Yeah, Junior deal. I can't. I'll have to find a list later. All right, so I think that's gonna do it. This is probably one of the shortest ToyCasts we've ever done. But hey,
there's not much to talk about. I mean,
yeah, there really isn't.
That's unfortunate. I mean, if anybody knows anything else, leave us some feedback. Let us know, and we can, maybe we're not thinking of something. I mean, there might be something out there that we're not thinking of. Now, I know that they made some video games, but that's not a toy. That's neither here nor there. But I mean, if there's anything else that's out there that you guys know of that we don't, let us know. Maybe we can do a follow-up episode or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
Anything's possible in the world of the intranets.
Yes, that's true.
Amen.
Thank you for joining us here on ToyCast. There are still ways to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. You can comment on each episode post. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Please do this. You can follow us on Twitter at TFToycast for the show Twitter. Mine is TFG1Mike. What is your Twitter?
Mine is just simple old Optibotimus.
And he is very simple and very old.
Yeah.
Become a fan on Facebook.
Mama, want to kill all humans?
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to Geekcast Radio Network.
Yeah.
Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name or screen name or whatever. 502-526-5821. Shut up, Bender. Shut the fuck up, Bender.
Shut the hell up!
We hope you enjoyed this episode of ToyCast, and we'll sure you'll join us next time when we will be talking about the 1989 Batman toys. I think Optibotimus just jizzed all over himself. For now, I am TFG1Mike with
Optibotimus.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.
I'm gonna go build my own theme park with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the park.
Forget the park.
Forget the park. I just want blackjack and hookers.
To generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity. 1.21 gigawatts!
You can now hear the GeekCast Radio Network while on the go with Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher is a free-use and talk mobile app available for your smartphone. And when you download Stitcher to hear GeekCast Radio, you'll have a chance to win money. Downloading is quick and easy. Just find Stitcher in the App Store. During registration, hit the promo code box and enter GeekCast Radio, all one word, to get automatically entered to win $100. The latest episodes of the shows will be waiting for you in your favorites. You'll get access to lots of other amazing shows too. Always available to you on demand, no syncing. It's Stitcher Smart Radio. Don't forget to enter promo code GeekCast Radio when you register.
What are you looking at, butthead?
Well, Doc, it's destroyed.